What's good, sports gamers? Today I'll be going over with you the different moves you're able to pull off as you're driving towards the paint, how to do them, and when to become not only a more efficient player, but dangerous as well in NBA 2K24. So alright, let's get it. First off, you're going to want to decide how you want to make your layups in NBA 2K24. By first going into your settings from the main menu, and then the features, and then on to controller settings, and scroll down to shot timing. This lets you set what do you want to time with your shot meter. By default, it's set to shots and layups, which means you're going to have to deal with the same meter you shoot your jump shots with on every layup you take, with a changing green window depending on whether defenders come into the picture late or not. So it's a lot going on here to narrow your layup, while dealing with defenders trying to block a shot and making sure you don't smoke the layup. It's a lot going on, I get it. Now you can change it back to what the default was before, which is just shots. This removes some of the responsibility you have in trying to time your layups in the paint and instead rely on ratings and the defender's closeness to you when you attempt them. Although rarely used, layups only puts all the pressure on you making your layups while leaving the jump shots to your player attributes. And real player percentage will have the player's rating take over and remove all responsibility of the user. Majority of the player base will use two of these. Shots only will let the game handle their layups, and those who want the extra challenge will put it on shots and layups to be able to time their layups and receive that extra boost for getting good at it. It takes a while for you, especially if you're constantly shooting contested shots, but the advantage you do get becoming good at timing your layups is worth it. And to increase your shot making ability, you can turn off your jump shot and layup meters so you don't actually see it, but are rewarded with a bigger green window. So if you set it to shots and layups and turn both your jump shot meter and layup meter off, you're still using it, you just can't see it. If you set it to just shots, you will not receive the added boost of turning your layup meter off because you're not using the layup meter. And actually, going down to your shot meter style and location of the meter can help improve your shot making ability in the paint as well, helping you see the meter quicker depending on where you place it, so it doesn't seem as fast is a big help. Tusk is a good one to help finish in the paint. I also like Pill. When driving, you want to use the free throw line, and if you're coming from the side, the low block to the elbow as a gauge to tell you if you're going to beat your defender or not. If it looks like the defender is going to beat you here, they'll be able to wall you off and force heavily contested shots. So having this mark in your head will help you attack faster when you notice you can beat them to that spot and finish in the paint and counter when need be. Now let's go over one of my favorite ways to finish in the paint that was introduced last year, and that's quick scoop layups. Such a fun and efficient move to have in your arsenal when driving, especially with guys who can't dunk. They're best utilized when the defender guarding you is coming from the side or behind you, or the last line of defense is way too deep in the paint. And to do a quick scoop layup, you first want to let go of turbo, and then hold the right stick to the left or right, and whichever way you're aiming will be the hand you lay it up with. Ideally, you want to lay it up with the hand furthest away from your closest defender. But you're able to say you're driving right, you can do a quick scoop layup with your left hand as well. Another big note about quick scoop layups that I love is you can even be moving away from the hoop and still execute them if you really need to get an optimal angle on a defender. You don't always have to be attacking the paint straight on to pull it off. And again, just make sure you're quickly letting go of the turbo button before you execute the quick scoop layup, or else you'll perform a step back or attempt to dunk when you didn't want to. Next, we got the Euro step. A well-executed Euro will get you past the defender by faking one way before bringing the ball back the other way. The key with this move is you're messing with the interior defender's timing, thinking you're going to drive one way and go up immediately, while instead changing directions. Because this is a Euro step layup, you're automatically going to go for a shot. So you're going to want to make sure there's at most one defender left to beat. And because the Euro step will be going up for a shot, it's going to orient itself depending on where you are to get you towards the rim when you activate it. So you're going to want more room between you and the rim so you have more space to cover and thus get away from a defender. Because if you attempt a Euro close to the rim, you will notice it will become super slow because you're already right at the rim. If you do it further out, the player will attempt it quicker and cover more space doing so. And preferably you want to do it coming at an angle. And there are two ways to activate the Euro step. First, make sure you let go of turbo before you do it, and then double tap the square or X button if you're on Xbox, while aiming the left stick down and towards your off-ball hand, while holding the button on the second tap to try and time the layup meter if you have it enabled. If your player is wide open, simply double tapping and not holding on the second will work because the green window is impossible to miss on wide open layups. Or if the ball is in your right hand, move the right stick down and to the left. And if the ball is in your left hand, move the right stick down and to the right. So you're aiming the right stick in the direction you want to finish the Euro on. Again, the Euro automatically forces you into a shot, so make sure there's at most one defender left to beat. An example where you can set up the Euro step is coming from the left side of the court. The Euro will have you end up on the left baseline, so you're going to want to make the defender believe you're going right before you go back the other way. You can make it even more believable by starting in your left hand, bringing the ball to your right, then utilize the Euro step as they're reacting to your sudden turn inside. And you can transition into a dunk out of a Euro step by holding the right trigger while still holding the right stick or square or X button while the animation is happening. Next, we got the hop step. And one of the best things about the hop step, besides weaving through traffic, is you don't automatically go up with the layup or dunk if you don't want to. So you can just do it and capitalize on defenders jumping in the paint or guys crashing around the perimeter, opening up jumpers. And to activate the hop step, you tap the square or X button if you're on Xbox, and aim the left stick in the direction you want to hop towards. Or, while holding the right trigger, aim the right stick down and to the left if the ball is in your right hand, and down and to the right if the ball is in your left. So you're aiming to your off-ball side. And let go of the right stick before the animation ends to not go up for the automatic shot. Now to continue the animation and go for a layup or dunk, if it looks like you've created enough space, simply tap the square or X button again before the animation ends. Or if you're using the right stick, continue to hold it in the direction you aimed. And if you're using somebody who can dunk it, just hold the right stick the whole way through the animation. Next, we have runners and floaters, which are especially deadly in the mid-range area this year, so you're definitely going to want this in your arsenal. This move is mostly used by shorter guys in real life, but of course can use it with whomever. Always mention you never go into the paint wanting to use a floater, you just end up doing so based on how far in the paint the defender is. Usually in the pick and roll is when you will use it the most often because the hedge defender will sink back into the paint, and to do either move you want to hold the right stick straight down while driving. This move directly benefits from you being able to time your layups, and if done right, the shot will go right over the big's outstretched arms. Now let's talk about reverse layups. This move aims to get you a clean shot driving baseline against a trailing defender by shooting you out the other side, or against an interior defender on the same side of the basket as you. This move is nice because you're always going to finish on the other side. You just have to make sure you're not shooting it over 3, 4, or 5 defenders. So if a defender is already waiting on the other side, this is not when this move should be used. And to perform a reverse layup, you want to hold the right stick behind you or whatever side you're driving from. So if you're driving right, aim the right stick to the right. And if you're driving left, aim left. Again, this helps you get your shot off against a trailing defender baseline. Now let's talk about dunking. And let's start with the two-hand dunk. It's favorable over the one-hander as it's harder to block from behind. Although two-hand dunk animations tend to start closer to the rim, so you're gonna look to want to trigger them right when you clear inside the free throw line. And to trigger a two-hand dunk, you hold the right trigger on your controller and then move and hold the right stick directly up to attempt it. Now to attempt the one-hand dunk with your strong or off-ball hand, you want to hold the right trigger on your controller and then hold the right stick directly to the player's off-ball hand side or ball hand side, so directly to the left or right. You want to pick the hand furthest away from the closest defender to increase your chances of successfully making it. And one-hand dunks tend to be able to trigger further away from the rim than two-hand dunks. Now you got skill dunks, which allow you to convert contact dunks at a higher rate if you're able to nail your shooting meter while performing them. So if you want to pull off contact dunks, this is how you get them the most frequently. Just be sure you hit that meter right or this will happen. And to attempt a skill dunk, you want to hold the right trigger on your controller and then in 2 right stick motions, move the right stick either up or down, then let it go and flick the right stick up or down again to bring up the meter, allowing the meter to fill before you let it go at the correct time to jam it home. Now, attempting 2-hand dunks, you're able to hang on the rim after doing so by continuing to hold the right trigger throughout the whole animation. While continuing to hold the right trigger, moving the left stick around also lets you swing on the rim, and the right stick lets you pull yourself up from it. Just be careful if you're doing pull-ups on the rim while your opponent is about to cross half court. You may be called for a delay of game. Now to pull off a 1 or 2-hand flashy dunk, you want to hold the right trigger and then hold the right stick down when driving into the paint. Now let's talk about gathers. And first off, we got the hop step back gather, which you can activate in 2 different ways. Either tap the square or X button with the left stick pointed towards the left or right away from the rim, or hold the right trigger and move the right stick in the direction you want to hop towards away from the rim. And you can do this while standing still or moving sideways. You can pair this with like a pick and roll to get optimal spacing between you and the roll man. And if you use the right stick method, you can cancel this step back just by letting go of the right stick before the animation completes. Next, let's talk about the spin gather. This move is nasty because of how fast it happens, how much space you can create against a user, even if they're locking you up beforehand and not being an automatic shot. So you can get defenders in the air with how fast it is. Again, this move is nasty against defenders you have an angle on because of how fast you change directions. And the urge to defend the sudden movement, you can get them in the air fairly easily. And to pull this move off, you have 2 options. You can either, while holding the right trigger, double tap square or X on your controller to pull off a spin. If you hold it the whole way, they will automatically go up for a shot. If you let go before the animation ends, they will pump fake. So you want to utilize that if the paint is still a bit congested. You can also rotate the right stick with your ball hand around the bottom to your off ball hand and hold it there to trigger the animation fully. And again, if it looks like you're about to shoot a heavily contested shot, let go of the right stick before the animation ends to pump fake. Now when driving, you always want to make sure you have space. I know playing Play Now online, a lot of the default offensive teams run aren't very space friendly, and you will find yourself driving into the paint with a big sitting right there. You don't want that. So you want to look towards plays that have excellent spacing for you to work, or freelancers that are specifically made for you to have as much room as you need to fully optimize your drive and kick game. Sorry people, with that I hope this video was able to help you attack the paint better in NBA 2K24 and not make it seem as much of an adventure when you get there. And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell icon at the bottom so you don't miss anything we put out. Alright people, I'm Chris. Thank you all for watching, and be good y'all.